Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to a new video. Earlier I uploaded video, if you have seen yesterday, a video uploaded. That video focused on some key people. The heading I mentioned there on the video, key people of the Constituent Assembly. So let's talk about the Constituent Assembly first, as I promised in the last week when I uploaded a video where we are talking about the way to the Constitution, the making of the Indian Constitution. Earlier we have seen the meaning of the Constitution, as well as we have seen why do we need a Constitution, requirement of Constitution. So all those things we have seen earlier, and today we are going to discuss about the Constituent Assembly, some key people of the Constituent Assembly, some key members of the Constituent Assembly, which uploaded yesterday along with their photograph, their birth year, as well as birthplace. Place basically I mentioned the state only, like Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, like that. More about their personality, who was he or she, and later means when after independence, the person, those key people got some major role, like they joined the government or they form a political party. So some important, some key points are mentioned over there. So if you haven't watched that video, kindly watch that video carefully. And one more thing, photographs may be difficult to find for them, so you just study the photographs, two photographs I keep of each of the personality. So you have to identify the person, because in the exam it may be a question to recognize the person, possibly by the name or by the achievement or something else, by the designation or position. So some such kind of question in the exam. That is according to CBSE guideline. So study that video carefully, and name of the person and other detail as text also given the right side of the video, so that you have to write in your regular note, as you can consider as part of notes. Alright, I hope you understood about the video. So now let's continue to the Constituent Assembly. So Constituent Assembly, as earlier mentioned, that not only the few members, I think 13-15 members given yesterday, and you know those people as freedom fighters, right? So those are some of them are the freedom fighters, yes, that's true. So those people, not only the members of the Constituent Assembly, I said some members. So let's talk about the members of the Constituent Assembly. Actually, there were 299 members. And do you know how they joined the Constituent Assembly? Like merely those people who knew, or those who were leaders they joined? No, that's wrong. Actually, there was election held for the members of the Constituent Assembly. Like elections, we know election for the state level or local level or central level elections, that we know. So similar type of elections was held for members of the Constituent Assembly. So Constituent Assembly were held in July 1946, and the first meeting, so it was July 1946 where the election held, and the first meeting after election, so people elected 1946, that means before the independence. So it was like a preparation to the independence. So before independence, that election was held, election to the Constituent Assembly, and the December 1946, the first meeting of the Constituent Assembly was held. But soon after, country was divided into two, as one of the tragic movements, or one of the tragic incidents for the India. So India was divided into two parts, that is what we call, those are India and Pakistan. So members who were in India, they remained in India, and some of the members, those who left for Pakistan, so they joined the Pakistan. Now a new challenge came. So those members who remained in the India were 299 members. So the Constituent Assembly that wrote the Indian Constitution had 299 members. Some of the key people we have seen like 10, 15 in the yesterday's video I have mentioned. But there were 299 members, and those members from different area, means different geographical area. They were expert from different area like philosopher, like economist, like lawyer, social worker, those sportsmen. Those people had different. They belong to different areas. They were expert in different areas. So ultimately, that was required for the balance of the constitution. So ultimately, after all this debate, discussion, and adoption of different principles, finally our constitution signed on 26th November, 1949. So on the date of 26th November 1949, our constitution was adopted. 1949, the year 1949, and the date is 26th of November. Focus here, November, not January. But we celebrate our Republic Day. When do we celebrate our Republic Day? 26th of January. So why this contradiction? There is a reason behind that. Actually, our constitution signed on 26th of November 1949, signed, adopted, accepted, but not yet came into the practice. So on the 26th of January, our constitution, the Constitution of India, came into the practice, and that is why on that day our country officially declared as a republic, democratic country, and that is the reason we celebrate 26th of January as Republic Day. So remember this thing. Independence Day and 26th January is Republic Day, 15 August is Independence Day. So I hope you understood that why we celebrate Republic Day on 26th of January. Now there is a question, some people still put a question mark on the constitution, and some people raise the question that why do we still follow the constitution, why do we follow the document which is older than 70 years. That's true. 2020 and 1949 actually that accepted, prepared, right? So why do we accept that document, that constitution which is older than 70 years? But there are many reasons behind it. Let's talk about two reasons mainly here. First of all, the constitution does not reflect the views of its members alone. So it's not like that a few members which I kept yesterday, or we call that Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar as the father of the Indian Constitution, right? So that it doesn't mean that Constitution was framed by himself only, or framed by a few people himself only, or it's not like result of ideas of a few people, those who taken part in it, but actually that reflect ideas of 299 members. Not only that. Apart from it, that in our constitution adopted ideas that before the independence, like earlier I said that ideas in the national movement adopted in the constitution, as well as like the French Revolution, Russian Revolution, from the USA, we have adopted many ideas from different parts of the world, from different peoples of the world. We have here adopted the passage in the constitution. We means constitution makers. So here many countries of the world have rewrite their constitution and afresh, because the basic rules were not accepted to all major social groups and political parties. But many of the countries, they declined, they refused their constitution and framed the new constitution because not accepted by sometimes social groups or sometimes by the political parties. But in our case, our constitution, I can't say the perfect, but it's like close to perfect, next to perfect. So rare we need to amend our constitution, because here our constitution that kept every single person, we can say every single citizen of India and every single social or political group in India, it takes care of everyone. So rare we need to oppose it. We don't need to oppose it. It's like it's perfect for us. So constitution, our constitution is different, and over the last half of the century, Several groups have questioned some provision of the constitution, but no large social group or political party has ever questioned on legitimacy of the constitution. Yeah, some changes were made and issued made to make it updated according to the situation, according to the time and according to era, according to people's demand and their views. But none of the person till now, I think, questioned the legitimacy of the constitution, the basic principles of the constitution. So those things are perfect. We never question against the constitution. Yeah, we criticize the government, but we don't actually question on the constitution because we don't need it. It's perfect. Yes, some things, some provisions need to be changed, and in future it may change too. But the main principle, the philosophy of the constitution, that will remain same, I hope so. Second thing, the second reason for accepting the constitution is that the Constituent Assembly represented the people of India. As we have seen that the Constituent Assembly was not just the assembly of leaders, but those were elected representatives, and they belong to different geographical area, they belong to different social groups, like Adivasis were there, Brahmins were there, as well as Dalits were there, Muslims were there, members of religious minorities were there, right? So different people. So they represented it. They kept ideas. They suggested. They put questions on behalf of their area, on behalf of their communities, right? So like different people that they represented their area, their communities. So questions, problems, well-beings of those people that already discussed in the Constituent Assembly by their leaders on behalf of the community, particular community. So these members from all the regions of the country, the assembly was dominated by the Indian National Congress. Yeah, the Indian National Congress, INC, played important role in the freedom struggle, right? But in the making of the constitution, that not only the important people from the Indian National Congress, but the Indian National Congress invited and asked those people from different political parties, people from different regions, different areas, those who were not members of the Congress, they also joined the Constituent Assembly. The assembly represented members from different languages, as I said, and different communities, religious communities, social groups. Even if the Constituent Assembly was elected by universal adult franchise, its composition would not have been very difficult. Finally, the manner in which Constituent Assembly worked gave sanctionity to the Constitution. So those members gathered and given that random idea and some people wrote the Constitution. Was it like that? Definitely no, a big no, because there was a formal procedure they followed. They held meeting, they discussed and they debate about different principles, different provisions which they wanted to add in the Indian Constitution. So let's see. So Constituent Assembly worked in a systematic, open manner, and that manner that accepted by all the members of the Constituent Assembly. There was no supremacy in the Constituent Assembly, but in the perfect democratic way they worked. So first they come on some basic principle to be adopted. Basic principle they decided. Then the drafting committee, and the drafting committee chaired by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. He was the chairperson of the drafting committee. And drafting committee draft a constitution or particular provision. Draft here is like a preliminary, basic document. That is what we call draft. So several rounds through discussion took place in the draft constitution, clause by clause, because they first made draft and draft for discussion in the meeting. So in the meeting they discuss, they raise question, they suggest different things, right, different topics. More than 2,000 amendments were considered. In this draft, 2,000 amendments, more than 2,000 amendments. Amendments means here changes were considered. The members deliberated for 114 days. They conducted meeting for 114 days, spread over 3 years. Within 3 years, 114 days they deliberated and they debate, discuss on various topic, various provision, and ultimately the matter, the point on that most of the people agreed upon, they accepted and considered as the final provision, final amendments of the Constitution. And their debates, their discussions, their suggestions, everything were recorded and preserved, written, preserved. Apart from the Constitution, the suggestion given by different members as well as question raised by different members, everything written, recorded, preserved and kept for future need. So their assembly debates which recorded, this debate provided the rationale behind every provision of the Constitution and when that output in the 12 bulky volume. And it is important to us, important for the government, important for the Supreme Court. Why? Because provisions are given in the Constitution, provisions are made in the Constitution. But if a question about any provision or any issue, if they want to know the detail behind the provision, so they can find, Supreme Court can find, government can find through that debate and discussion about a particular provision. So this is the way our Constitution made. This was the process our Constitution has framed. In the next video, inshallah, the day after tomorrow, we'll discuss about the basic philosophy of the Constitution and guiding values of the Constitution, which are important to us, basic principles of the Constitution. Stay tuned. Thanks so much.